Hey everyone, Zach here with GP Cycle Works. We make a lot of windshields for our Harley-Davidson Sport Glide, and we also get a lot of questions about the different models we make. We have a few videos out there, we'll have those links below, but we wanted to do another video to explain our version 2, often referred to as a prototype windshield, but really now it's our default options. So our version 2 is our default options. So we wanted to do a video to explain how we came up with it, what's different with the version 2 windshield, our new standard, and then we're going to do a brief overview of the different models and then some easy ways to determine which one is right for you. So let's get to it. All right, so how did we come up with our version 2 windshield? So we're a small company, we listen to a lot of our riders' feedback. So ultimately, this design came from rider feedback. There's a popular YouTube channel, Todd, and he helped us work and design on this one. He tested probably 5 or 6 different windshields until we really narrowed down something that had better wind protection with real minimal changes. So that's pretty much how we came up with it, is really just road tested, and then we also tested locally with customers here until we fine-tuned and came up with something that worked well, really provided the best wind protection for such a small fairing that comes standard on the Sport Glide. All right, so now let's talk about what's actually different with this version 2, our new standard ones, because when you look at them, it's pretty difficult to really tell that there's any difference. The main difference is going to be the top profile. So we've got a version 1.5 here, we'll call it, and our actual version 2. So the main difference with our version 1.5 windshield is going to be the top profile, and it's rounded and a little more narrow at the top. Our version 2 windshield is a little more squared off and kind of has more corners. So at the top of the windshield, you really have a lot more added width, which, as Todd talks about in some of the videos that we'll link below, it really helps the bobble that you get from riding at highway speeds, because the wind has a bigger, or you have a bigger pocket from the wind because you have that added width up top. Instead of it being narrow at top, the wind wants to come around and kind of shake you back and forth. So the added width at the top is a real difference maker at high speeds or longer rides. The other change with our version 2 windshields is going to be the slot size, or the vent hole size that we've got here. So these are actually both our new vent hole sizes. That's why I call this one 1.5, because it's got our one top profile but our 2 vent holes. The actual slots are going to be a little smaller than the first ones that we first designed, so it still lets air in, but not quite as much as our version 1 models. So that's going to be the main changes. It's really not much. It's real, like I said, minimal changes that make a big impact when you're actually riding. Next thing we're going to talk about is an overview of the different models that we make, because it's kind of confusing and there's lots of different terminology. We want to kind of set the record straight as far as what's going on. By default, all of our windshields are going to have the squared off top. So we've gotten rid of the rounded top. It looked really good on there, but the squared off top just provides a lot better wind protection, and really it's just as clean looking also. So by default, that's going to be the main option. The different models we make are our narrow model. So this one isn't going to extend past the fairing, isn't going to extend to the end of the fairing like our wider models do. And we've got another video that explains the narrow model versus the wide models, so you can go back and watch that. But it mainly talks about just the general differences in it. The that's going to be our narrow Euro flip model. Then after that, we have our wide models. So this is, you know, our wide model, but this is going to be the version 1.5, but we're going to have, you know, that added width at the top. So we've got our wide model, but our version 2, as we'll call it, also has the extra width added. So we've got a narrow model, a wide model, and an extra wide model. They're all going to have the squared off tops, all the new vent hole sizes, so we'll try to leave it at that. Narrow, wide model, and extra wide model. The other product we offer for the Sport Glide is our lower wing deflectors, which mount on the back of the fairing. By default, those are also going to be our version 2 models with the extended length. So there's also another video that talks about the difference in those. So the last section we're going to talk about is which model is right for you and kind of a starting point for which models you need or which model you could use. So these are kind of general rules of thumb. They're not like, you know, hard points that you have to follow. But our extra wide model is going to be really good for ultimate wind protection. So if you have pullback risers on your bike, then you're going to want to go with the extra wide model because it's going to give you the maximum wind protection without having to worry about interference on the brake reservoirs. If you don't have pullback risers and you have your handlebars tilted back towards you, then you can go with our wide model, which is going to let you have a little wider windshield without having to worry about too much interference. You still will probably have the windshield touching your brake reservoir, but it's going to be resting on it. And that's just kind of one of the many trade-offs of getting, you know, maximum wind protection while also working with what you've got on the bike. One good way to tell if your handlebars are tilted back towards you is if you're in full tilt of your handlebars, like you're turned all the way. If your handlebars are touching the tank or just about touching the tank, that's a good measure that your handlebars are tilted back all the way. So if you've got them tilted back and they're almost touching the tank on full tilt, then our wide model is a good choice for you. If your handlebars are tilted forward at all, like if you've got long arms, and you know your riding posture is rather upright and your handlebars are tilted forward, then you're going to want to go with our narrow model, because with the wide models you're going to have too much interference with the brake reservoir pushing into the edges of the windshield. So that's kind of a general rule of thumb, you know, for which model is right for you. We know it's confusing and there's probably still a lot of questions. So the first thing to do would be check out our other videos, which are going to be in the links below. We talk about the kind of general differences in the narrow versus wide models. We also talk about how to measure the windshields, and we've got an installation video and then a video specifically on our deflectors. But this is kind of just to announce our standard options now, which is the version 2 modifications. So we hope that helped answer the questions, but if there are any other questions, comment below or just give us a call or shoot us an email. We're a small business, so we're happy to hear from you, and we can make really anything you want if you need something custom made. But thanks for watching and safe riding.